In this video too, let's talk about the Bible. Is it a bizarre ancient book or is it absolutely genius? 40 different authors, written across 1,500 years, 3 different languages, dozens of genres, from poetry to history to letters to an apocalyptic ending, written across empires, exiles, wars. And somehow these 66 books combine together as one coherent story that has shaped Western civilization more than any other book. So, does that make the Bible the most bizarre cultural fluke ever? Or is it absolutely genius? This is a follow-up to last week's video about what's the Bible really about. And in it, I talked about 3 different options: the skeptical view, the absolutist, moralist view, and the happiness view, broadly speaking. But let's be honest, it's statistically wild. I mean, seriously, most ancient writings didn't even survive. This thing is thousands of years old. The books themselves, the 66 different books, were written across a time period of 1,500 years. That is a long, long time. And it survived despite attempts to destroy it, to ban it, to dismiss it. It was hand copied for centuries before the printing press was developed. It was translated into hundreds of different languages. And even today, it still remains the best-selling book in history. So, like I was saying in video number 1, if it's just men using God's name for control, then how did it endure when so many other things didn't? And if it's purely a human document, then the fact that it's so unified in its themes and its lasting impact is incredibly bizarre. I remember studying Beowulf in literature in college and being surprised at how it was one of the oldest narrative stories that has survived and how hard it was for things to survive that amount of time. Up to that point, I'd never thought about it. But if it is like option number 2 or option number 3, revealing God's design, if it is truly divine words written in it, then that endurance, which looks so bizarre, starts to look intentional, if not proof of its validity. So let's make the bizarre case first, that it is a messy, contradictory anthology that somehow won the cultural lottery. It had 40 different authors, at least, with different agendas, and it reflects ancient worldviews that we do not share, and that its survival comes from institutional power, from fear, from cultural momentum, from selective interpretation. Also, it's just vague enough that people can make it say almost, and it's just a random book that just happened to survive because of politics and human psychology. So that's the one case. So let's make the genius case, that its endurance itself points to something deeper, that it's a unified meta-narrative that explains the human condition better than any other philosophy, that we were made whole, something broke, redemption is offered, restoration is coming. This book has been credited with transforming individuals and societies. It has been the founding and fueling document for building hospitals, for expanding human rights, for abolishing slavery. It has been used as the basis for art, for music, building truly beautiful things, and ethics, and has spoken to people across every culture, every era. That is crazy. That is literary craftsmanship. It claims to have fulfilled prophecies, moral depth, and self-authenticating power when people actually live it out. So, those are the things that suggest brilliant design, not accident. The people who believe see the preservation as evidence that it really is God's word standing forever. And just for full disclosure, I am one of those people. All right, so bizarre or brilliant? And the answer that you choose might depend on the video I talked about last week. So option number one, when we talk about it being a power document that men wrote to control other people, makes its survival feel like a weird historical accident. But options 2 and 3 make it feel like it's the natural outcome of something that is true, powerful, and so great that it cannot be explained by human working alone. Personally, I've read the Bible multiple times, and every single time that I read it, I intentionally look for its coherence and find more proof of its coherence. And this is what I really wanted to say, is that our perspective does shape what we see and what we get from the Bible. And so a skeptic will keep on being skeptical, and a curious or open person will see we'll see more than the skeptic sees. We'll see differently than the skeptic sees. But here's what I believe. I believe that, number one, even if it's just culturally significant, it's worth reading. But if you're going to bother to read such a long, long book, then I would encourage you to read it with an open, seeking spirit. Like, I'm just open to possibility here. I'm just open to letting it, to the highest extent possible, speak for itself. So I'm going to close this video with saying, I am not here to convince a skeptic of the Bible's truth. And I am not here to bore you with all the reasons that I find the book so very fascinating. But I am going to say that, again, like video 1 talked about, it's a choose your own adventure. So if you do go to read it, I hope that you will read it with an open heart. If you do have any questions, I would love to hear them. Put them in the comments. If you'd like to talk personally, then I invite you to book a clarity call. I will put that link in the description, but it's aprilbragg.as.me/clarity. And just maybe it will be the beginning of great success in your life. So I don't know to what extent ahead of time people will find this interesting. On my channel, I have broadly spoken about decluttering and sometimes spoken about business and simplifying your life. But overall, I'm always talking about how to live our lives with great success. But just in closing, I wanted to say this. I think that the principles of success are found in the Bible. And so that's why I wanted to make these 2 videos, to maybe the open seeker person could see what's so interesting about the Bible, and also see what might stand in the way of getting more depth out of the Bible, like preconceived notions of that it's a document meant to control other people, or that it's a rule book telling people this is what you have to do and not have to do to keep God happy. So, in the end, if you ask me what the Bible's all about, it is this fascinating arc, this drama of redemption, the most dramatic story, the greatest story ever told. And it opens up with an all-powerful being through desire for relationship, creating a world and people in it and having a relationship with them. And then when the people broke that relationship, he made a way for that relationship to be restored back to him on a scale and a scope. I mean, it took thousands of years for this plan of his to unfold. That's why there's 66 books written by 40 different authors. And when I read it, the more I read it, the more I see, oh, this links with that here, and this backs up that. And this, even though they seem like they're fussing at each other and they're disagreeing with each other, when I read it more carefully or when I hold those tensions, I find that it's not either or, but many, many times it becomes a both and. And the more I read it, the more questions I get answered, the better my life is, the better I understand, the better discernment and wisdom I think I have, and I can live out my life, the happier I am, for sure. The more peace I have in living out the principles there. And also, the more questions are opened up. And it's this fascinating enigma of it's a never-ending journey. So, for me personally, the best approach has been open curiosity. Not saying to accept it blindly, but to be willing to see what it says for itself about itself. All right. That's my invitation to you. I hope you find it as fascinating as I have. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.